Want to welcome everybody to the meeting. I want to, we've got a really good speaker tonight. It's Patrick Muntz. I've known Matt Patrick for plus 30 years. Um, he's absolutely the major go-to person in the market. When other lenders can't put deals together, there's problems. He's the guy that they go to. He analyzes them and gets them closed. So he's a mortgage broker, but more than that, he supplies business loans too. So he's an excellent resource for you to ask your questions to. He's also an excellent guy to use to get your deals closed. So, Patrick, with that said, I'm going to turn the meeting over to you. Appreciate you being on.
Yeah, one thing I think we want to say is whatever we're saying, and we're not giving legal advice or accounting advice. So we just want to be totally transparent on that end. Any questions or concerns you have about tax issues or any accounting questions or any legal questions, we defer to the professionals and ask you to consult with an attorney, a tax attorney, an accountant, or your tax preparer.
Yeah, said another way, real estate's sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes you break even. We don't provide legal or accounting advice, and said another way, don't sue us.
Yeah. So the intent of tonight is to provide you with loan solutions primarily around business. And the reason we say that is while we want to regard all our real estate investor friends, we have programs for you too, and we're going to be talking about those. But we want everyone to shift their thinking a little bit and to realize that your armor, the armor that you wear is your business. Typically, you think of it for liability, but the protections of liability aren't just the whole offering of a business. We're able to loan the business money. The whole landscape has shifted to the point where everything's a business loan now because consumers have protections that the lenders are too exposed to and will not loan to. So all the private money, all the business money, everything's shifted over to businesses, and that's why everyone's getting LLCs. If you haven't got an LLC, you are naked outside and it's 25 below. You need to get an LLC, S Corp, corporation, whatever business entity you like. Even if it's at the very least, the lowest on the rung is don't register at all and be a sole proprietor. Get a business. And I would definitely consider, the normal business enterprise, such as a subchapter S or a C Corp or what have you, LLC, or S Corp LLCs, whatever. In my house, we have a saying: those who say it cannot be done should not interrupt those who are doing it. So what we're going to do is pull the curtain back and share with you some of the type of loans that we're able to provide to people with businesses that I think are going to make you feel like I'm being very transparent about this, and that you can go full speed ahead with the business because it's going to make a difference. But most entities are looking for 6 months to 24 months minimum for you to have the business designation. So I just wanted to start out by pointing out to you what must be done in order to preserve yourself. You need to get a business entity and you need to get it going as soon as possible. That being said, maybe you could change the slide and we can get started.
Sure. So also, Patrick, we're going to hold the questions till the end of the presentation, then open it up. Is that what you plan on doing?
Sure. It'll afford us the most efficient use of our time. And then from there, we can answer everyone's questions. And of course, I'm always available to be contacted. I get phone calls every day from people who are on these meetups and these Facebook and RIAs that we're on.
And all of Patrick's information will be on the last slide, and you'll also have a copy of this presentation.
Yeah. So what we do is we're finding that the people that we like to work with are all in the same group. They're all the builders, developers, wholesalers, and investors with real estate problems. The idea is to affordably solve these issues and get the transaction closed. But once again, we can't make somebody do these things. It's up to you to go out and register with the state and get your business entity going. And of course, get the EIN number, which will definitely take you places. And this is what we're hoping to achieve, is get everybody into critical mass. Non-qualified lending, a new term, not quite anything like subprime, but truly a alternate universe to the traditional loans, where it's everything that falls between the cracks. So this, they call it non-qualified lending now, or non-QM, non-qualified mortgage. This is a whole new universe of lending products of which few lenders have or take advantage of. We start out with jumbos. I can go to $2 million with 10% down and no PMI. Does that sound a little non-traditional?
Yeah.
I can go down as low as 620, including the jumbos, which normally start at 700 for most lenders. No seasoning requirements for foreclosure, short sale, or BK. 24-month bank statements are okay to do these deals. Owner-occupied second homes and investment properties on the jumbos.
Yeah. So Patrick, you use a lot of terms like PMI. Some people aren't going to know that. So
private mortgage insurance. I apologize.
Yeah.
I don't mean to fall into mortgagees. I'm just trying to share information, and I will slow down with the content. If anybody wants me to slow down even more, I'm happy to do that as well. The no PMI is essentially huge with 10% down, especially on a jumbo loan. The tax advantages and the costs are completely removed, and highly leveraged loan, and still these lenders are open to it. So that's very rare to find. We also have loans for investment properties while we're on the subject, even though we're referring with the jumbos, which are large loans. Anything over 750 tends to be a jumbo. And those are the owner-occupied second homes and investment properties, all of which are okay. We'll allow 100% gift funds with 24 months bank statements for the ability to repay. That's really something. That's very difficult to find. Not
never heard of.
not normal. And then, of course, we've got investment properties where we'll use the subject property's cash flow as income. Think about that. You find an investment property, and if it's performing, it's got a tenant in it, we'll use the tenant's rent as income and let you do, qualify based on a portion of that cash flow, if not all of it.
So like credit score doesn't enter into this?
Credit scores are 620.
Okay.
For these properties, minimums. They like to see, 640, 660, somewhere in that range, but they'll go down to 620 if you've got compensating factors.
Got it.
Compensating factors like cash reserves, things of that nature. We do foreign nationals. That's a new thing that a lot of people will not do in the lending business, is work with people from other countries that are on limited visa statuses. We don't care. We're happy to do it. We love everybody, and we want to help everybody.
So anybody that's in the U.S. on a visa has potential for this funding from you?
Well, if it's an accepted level of green card status.
Okay.
Okay, so I think it's an NIH status of some kind. They have different categories. And of course, people who are in residence here or employee leased or anything else, we can always work something out in those areas.
So I got a friend of mine that's on a visa. It's been here in the States for a long time. And he's a self-employed internet marketer, but successful at it. So there would be potential there if he had the right visa status.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, I'm very encouraging to people to apply. I've never discouraged anyone ever. And I don't know how I can be more insistent. If you think that we got a chance, let's get the application going.
Yeah. And the flip side of this is there's a lot of investors on this caller that'll listen to it, and they know these people. and they're probably under the assumption they can't get a mortgage. So now they could end up being their exit strategy when they're getting out of the property because they already know the buyer who thinks he can't buy.
They're also
Yeah, now.
typically very good prospects because it's a very industrious part of society where people are working hard and working a lot, and they save money. And everybody loves good customers, especially if you're selling something. So I don't see any reason to ever overlook this sector. I mean, it's just the absolute, it's the cream of our nation, really, in my opinion.
So they'd have to have an LLC.
Yeah, we'll close in an LLC. It's not necessary for the owner occupied side of things, but it would be helpful to have it on any sort of, how should I say this?
Investment property.
My daughter-in-law is from China, and she does quite well selling luxury goods to people in China. And she is very excited about the fact that we're offering this to foreign nationals because she believes that there are a lot of people here who want to do something and get into homes that are luxury items. And I don't see any reason to say no to that. I mean, it's just wonderful. I mean, I can't say enough about the whole prospect. So I'm just saying we got the way to get things done with the sector, and all we're doing is getting the word out because it's very difficult for them to find financing.
Okay. So you want me to move forward then?
Please. So now what I call the program cheat sheet, the business program cheat sheet, is going to outline the business side of things that it will help you get more money and get it as cheaply as possible. Some of these programs are have a non-QM component because they do more things for you, like start you out early if you're not, if you've just been in business for 6 months, you're going to be looking at QM. That's all there is to it. But these are ways to get your foot in the door. So business working capital, low end credit at 450, liens and judgments, okay, 6 months time in the business. If you've got a store or something that is cash flowing in terms of sale of goods for $10,000 each month, or you're making widgets or whatever it is that you're doing, we view those as business deposits and we'll offer you a revolving line of credit or working capital in a lump sum. The 10,000 in monthly sales is a qualifier. And this is a true line of credit where the payment frees up additional payments as the line goes on. So you're rinsing and repeating and paying off your loan and refreshing the balance as you go. And you can have up to $200,000 on this, and you have your choice of weekly or monthly payments, which very similar to merchant cash, but a much better program. It's the merchants are all signed up with these programs where they want to take their credit card sales and be paid as on a weekly basis for cash flow reasons, buying inventory, things of that nature. These particular programs are even better because they offer you interest-only portions on your credit, monthly payments, all these different things that are huge advantages to people that nobody knows about. And we are trying to get the word out on these too. This is a revolution in terms of what we've had up to this point. It's been like the 1950 fan company until we got here. So this is a term loan. This is for 1 to 4 years. You get biweekly or monthly payments. What we do in this case is show the APR, which is the annual percentage rate. And what we do is that takes all the costs in context, and we call that a true interest rate as opposed to getting quoted 5.33 or whatever it is, because there's cost associated with these transactions. So by the time you're done, the true cost is reflected in the annual percentage rate. I think everybody's pretty familiar with that by now. There's no prepayment penalty with these, which is a big, big breakthrough. almost everybody on these type of loans is requiring prepayment penalty because of the uncertainty of the interest rate futures and the credit freezes and stuff like that that we had last year in 2020 for about 4 or 5 months. 2 years in the business, credit 660, no BKs and no bankruptcies, no liens or foreclosures. And if you have merchant accounts, you can refi out of them, but the balance can't exceed $75,000. So these are all options that you get when you start getting into these business loans. Now, the SBA business loans are government guaranteed or government backed funds. These government guarantees are essentially being waived at this point. So this is a really good time to do this. In fact, it doesn't get any better. Ever since the beginning of March, end of February, all the way through to March 31st, you have to get an SBA loan. And what you're going to find is they're going to waive the fees, which are normally 3 to 4 points on a deal. They're just waiving them. Waiving them, and did I forget to mention, there's no payments for principal and interest for the first 6 months. They'll make your payments for the first 6 months. Approvals in 48 hours. It takes about, you get the approval in 48 hours, but it takes about 4 to 8 weeks to get the funding. It's a 10-year term, and it's 5 1/4, which is prime plus 2. And you're at 675 for the credit score. We're looking for a profitable business. I want to see your tax returns, and I want you to be profitable in the business. So essentially, a little redundancy on this slide, but essentially it encapsulates it nicely. It's an easy loan to apply for if you've been in business for a couple of years and you kept your nose clean and you're making some money.
So ideally, some of the ways that you could use this money is if you had like a franchise opportunity, you could go in and buy it with a 10% down money. Or if you had a brick and mortar business you wanted to buy, or
let's say you had another business you wanted to buy.
Yeah.
But just for 1 second, what people don't realize is while the startups are 80% failure rate, 80 to 88% failure rate in any given year. On a new business, that's on a new business startup. If you're buying a business, those people have weathered the storm. They have cash reserves. They have assets.
Exactly.
They have work in progress. They have inventory. They have real estate. They have all this stuff. And if you lose this opportunity for no cost, essentially, from the SBA by their guarantee fees being waived, to get into a deal like this, and you get them to make your payments for the first 6 months.
Yeah. And it's the kind of stuff, like if you're a wise investor, you're going to be looking for the guy that's successful, but maybe the husband who's the brains behind the business has got cancer, or maybe it's the fact that their health's failing or their age or whatever their reason is for getting out, but they've got a successful business and they're looking to get cashed out. This is an incredible thing. And then the fact that you're going to cash somebody out, that adds more power to it because you're not buying on terms or not asking for seller financing. This is a great program.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It really
should be looked at for anybody that's looking for that business opportunity to get into.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime because they're waiving their fees.
Yeah.
The government is waiving a 3 or 4 point fee, just waiving it. Well, so anyway, I think that this is something to consider that a lot of people don't seem to realize. So the equipment financing is a whole nother thing, but this is if it's a need that people have. I mean, your high-end copiers all the way to phone equipment to, endless propositions with fans that are, in electronic board systems or whatever the situation calls for. That's equipment financing, including vehicles that go with the business.
But if you had like somebody that was in the sauna business or selling hot tubs or some type of retail type business like that, the equipment couldn't be for that. It's not for inventory. It's strictly for the equipment of the business, right?
Not strictly for inventory for the business. It's not the work in progress goods that most managerial accounting talks about.
Yeah, so that would be back one slide to the SBA.
Right.
Yeah,
But this is an SBA program,
Yeah.
or actually this mimics an SBA program because it includes a lot of people who are more maybe bruised or dinged credit, things of that nature.